This is Gabriela on the scene today with Talk Network Radio. We have a real treat for you just around the corner, and that is Empowered Living with Jeff Byrd. Jeff is the owner of Jeffrey Byrd Coaching, and he will be coming to you weekly to teach you more about empowered living. Now, let's join Jeff already in the studio.
Hello and welcome. I'm Jeff Byrd with Jeffrey Byrd Coaching, and I'm so glad that you joined me today. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a speaker, a trainer, and a coach with the John Maxwell team, and also I provide leadership and team and personal development through my organization, Jeffrey Byrd Coaching. Now today, I want to help us think into something that I hope becomes a movement. And I want to introduce it by asking you the question: how many of you would like more blessing on your life, on your business, on your family, on your kids, on anything you're involved with in the new year? Because this will be going out about the middle of January in 2020. On the new year, on the new decade, how many of you would like more blessing, right? So I'm just seeing mentally hands up all over the place, right? Who wouldn't? Who wouldn't? If you don't want more blessing, I need to talk to you. Please get in touch with me, because I'd like to find out what you got that's going so great that you can't imagine it being better and wouldn't like what you're doing and who you're with being blessed. So the title for today is Speak the Blessing. Speak the blessing. And this is so important. You know, think about this just mentally. Just mentally. How many times do you think about other people, see them doing something, that you may not like, and you think something negative, right? Or maybe you even say something negative to the person you're with about them, right? We do this on TV a lot too. We see, oh, they're so crazy. Why are they doing? What were they thinking? But we do this in real life too. What would it be like? Just imagine if instead of that, no matter, it doesn't mean people are going to be doing everything just great or just right or just to your liking, but if instead of thinking a negative thing towards them, what if we thought and even spoke, even if it's just to ourselves, a blessing over them? Right? Now there's a great story. This is one of my favorite stories in the Old Testament in the Bible, and I just love this. I just want to unpack it for a minute. And there's this story, and this is when the children of Israel, the camp of Israel, they had come out of Egypt. You probably remember that story, with the Charlton Heston and, in the Ten Commandments. They had come out of Egypt and they were on their way to the promised land, but they were in the wilderness. And, they were moving around, and they had a camp in this specific way that they set up their camp. And, a lot of the neighboring kings were very afraid of them. They had heard about what happened in Egypt, about the plagues and Pharaoh chasing them through the Red Sea and being drowned there, and how they had been miraculously delivered from being slaves in Egypt, and all of these good things that were happening to them. And a lot of these surrounding kings, they were terrified of them because they were pretty invincible, because God was very much fighting for them. And one of these kings was named Balak. And what Balak wanted to do was find a prophet who he could hire to pronounce a curse on Israel. He knew that they were blessed. He saw all these blessings happening, and he was afraid, and so he wanted to stop it. Take away the blessing, pronounce a curse. So there was this very unwise prophet by the name of Balaam. Balak is the king, Balaam is the prophet. So Balak hires Balaam. And he takes him up to a mountain overlooking where the valley where the Israelites were camped. And he did this a few times, and he said, okay, now come up here and look at them and pronounce a curse on them for me. And so Balaam would say, I need to go away and hear what God's going to say to me. And then he would come back and he would pronounce what God said. Well, this one time he comes back and he makes the king Balak so angry, because every time he comes back and Balak wants him to pronounce a curse, he pronounces a blessing on them. And, then Balak will take him to another place to look at him and pronounce a curse. He'll come back with another blessing. And this goes on like several times. And one of the times Balaam comes back, and this is what he says, and I love this. He says, behold, I have received the command to bless. When he has blessed, then I cannot revoke it. And so what he's saying is he's looking at these people that God has chosen to bless. And he's saying, when God has blessed them, there's nothing I can do against it. And I've received the command to bless these people. Wow, what if the folks around you spoke that over your life? I've received the command to bless. I speak blessing over you. I speak blessing over your life. I speak blessing over your family. I speak blessing over your career. I speak blessing over your finances. I speak blessing over everything you touch and everything that pertains to you. Right? I speak the blessing over that. And I mean, what would it be like if we did that to each other? Right? Instead of thinking, oh my gosh, I wish they'd get their act together and I wish they'd get that straight. And what if we're like, wow, I see you. I know you're struggling, but I speak a blessing over you. I know this is a difficulty. I see this thing. It may not be right, but I still speak a blessing over you. I see what you can be. And I pronounce the very best for you in this blessing. Now, this word bless, it can be to invoke divine care. It can have a very spiritual dimension. It can mean, and it often does, in churches or even like in the passage I explained in the Bible, there's this divine sense of blessing of God caring for someone and making things better than they could make them on their own, right? It can also mean to confer prosperity or happiness on somebody. You might have the means to bless them. Hey, maybe your company did real well and, you gave a Christmas bonus to your, employees. I've had that happen unexpectedly sometimes. And it's been a blessing, some extra prosperity or happiness, to confer that on somebody or even to desire it for them. Back in some archaic usage, back in Shakespeare's day, it could mean to protect or to preserve. People were blessed by having protection or having extra help to preserve them, if they were under attack or if there was an enemy coming against them. Or it can just mean to endow somebody or to pronounce favor on them. Just, hey, I favor you. No reason. No reason that I should. I see you. Maybe you're not in a situation that's even helping me. Maybe you're even a detriment to me in some ways. But I'm going to choose my response, and I'm going to choose to pronounce a blessing and favor over you.
Jeff will be back shortly to wrap up today's message. This is Gabriela, still on the scene today with Talk Network Radio. If you're just tuning in, you're listening to Empowered Living with Jeff Byrd. If you've missed any part of today's message, you can hear it again online, as well as the entire archive of Empowered Living at www.talknetworkradio.com or search keyword #Empowered Living. We would like to acknowledge our music partners, Sound Ideas for Corporate to the Max and Kevin MacLeod for Airport Lounge. Any scriptures read during this broadcast are from the New American Standard Version of the Holy Bible. If you would like to learn more about Jeffrey Byrd Coaching, visit www.jeffbyrdcoaching.com. That is JEFFBYRD coaching.com. Do a Facebook search for @CoachingRocks or drop Jeff a line at jeff@jeffbyrdcoaching.com. Again, JEFFBYRD coaching.com. Let Jeff's Coaching Rocks be the building blocks of your empowered success. Now, let's go back to Jeff for the rest of today's message.
None of these things are dependent on the condition of the one being blessed. Like back in that passage that I started with, there were all kinds of things. If you read the passage, there were all kinds of things. Israel had all kinds of issues and were doing all kinds of things wrong. But Balaam, in one of those prophecies, he says God has not observed iniquity in Israel. It means something wrong with them, a moral failure, making a mistake. He has not observed iniquity in Israel. And another thing that's very, very interesting is there were 12 tribes of Israel, but they weren't all the same size. So the three and they were encamped like this, kind of horizontally and vertically. But the tribe of Judah was by far the biggest tribe, and they were at the south end of the formation. And so when you looked at it from above, this formation with its vertical and horizontal orientation formed a cross. And that's very interesting. When Balaam was looking down and the king Balak wanted him to curse them, he looked down and he saw the formation of a cross. And then he got the word from God, I have not observed anything wrong with them. and he gave him the command to bless them. And that's very interesting. Some of you may be people of faith like me. Some of you maybe not, but I think that this is so true in my own life, and I'm so grateful for it, that when God looks at me, I think he sees a cross. And he says, therefore, because I already saw everything that would ever be wrong with you, every bad attitude, every harsh word, every major thing, every devaluing other people, every devaluing of yourself, I already saw placed on my son on that cross. And now I command the blessing over you. There's nothing keeping you from all the good anymore, because I've taken all the bad away. So, none of these blessings are dependent on the condition of the one being blessed. They can be on their best day. They can be on their worst. The blessing resides in the heart of the one doing the blessing. And when you pronounce blessing over somebody, it has nothing to do with their condition. You're saying, hey, I value you. I favor you. I want all the best from heaven for you. I want all of my best towards you, all of my best wishes, my best desires, and I give that to you. Now, I was reading an article by Dr. Jack Schaefer in Psychology Today, and he said this. He said, words cannot change reality, but they can change how people perceive reality. Words create filters through which people view the world around them. And what I would say is the word, if I say, okay, you're blessed. I bless you. I favor you. I value you, or, something to that effect. Now, that may not change your circumstance, but if it changes the way you look at your circumstances, and then you do something different as a result of looking at things differently, that can end up with a whole new set of circumstances. The words didn't change it themselves, but they changed the other person, the person you're speaking to. I mean, just an encouraging word. How much good does that do? Especially if you're having a bad day and somebody comes along and says, hey, no, I value you. Thank you so much for all your hard work. I really appreciate you. That's a blessing. That's a blessing. And that's a filter through now which we see the world around us. Maybe we were seeing everything bad. Somebody speaks a good word to us, and now we're seeing, hey, maybe things aren't so bad. Maybe there's a brighter version of this situation that I can see, that I can picture in my mind, and that I can start stepping into, right? So then words don't change the reality immediately, but they change the people to whom they're spoken, which in turn has the power to change the circumstances. Blessing is at the heart. Blessings for other people reside on the inside, in our heart, because really where we think and how we feel, it's up here a lot, even though we often put our hand on our chest and say our heart. But blessing is at the heart, desiring or proclaiming something good for someone. This is on the inside of me. It's on the inside of you. You desire and proclaim something good for someone. Sometimes I'll just be driving down the road and I'll see somebody who looks like they're having a bad day or is in a bad way, and I don't stop and say anything to them, but sometimes I'll just speak it out loud, like in a prayer, and say, I just pronounce blessing over them in Jesus' name. I'll say something like that. Or God, just bless them. I don't even know what they need, but you know what they need, and I ask you to bring it into their life through someone or through something that helps them see and get what they need. So we can do that, but it's in the heart, the desire and the proclamation of something good for someone. So my question is, what good thing can you impart to those around you, in your home, in your workplace, with those you meet, in organizations? What good thing can you impart? What blessing can you speak to them? And it can even be just in your desire, in your intent. You don't have to go. I mean, that might be weird or awkward, or maybe you feel moved to do it. I don't know. But at least in your intent, on the inside, you can start seeing them as people of value who you're proclaiming blessing over. And I think that shines through. Sometimes it just shines through our eyes. It just shines in the way we look at people. We just see them with worth. We see them with value. So how will that work? How will that look, rather, through your words, through your actions, through your attitudes, your thoughts, and your motives? Now think about this. I'll list those 5 again, because this is ultimately everything we've got. Our words, our actions, our attitudes, our thoughts,